Welcome to The Grow Show, powered by Steel. On The Grow Show, we share ideas, tips, tactics, and insights to help you grow your landscaping business based on our team's 40 years of experience running a landscaping company and working with other owners and their teams to do the same. New episodes are released weekly on Wednesdays. Here's your host, Marty Grunder.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the case may be. This is Marty Grunder from Grunder Landscaping Company and the Grow Group with another exciting edition of, yes, you guessed it, The Grow Show powered by Steel. I'm in the Steel studios today with two longtime clients, friends, fellow landscapers, Jonathan and Josiah Peterson. How are you, boys?
Doing great.
Doing good, Marty. Thanks for having us.
Well, of course. How are things down there in Hondo, Texas? I know we were there about a year ago, well, a little over a year ago, or under a year, for Grow 2023. How are things going down there at Summit? How's the team?
I'd say overall, Marty, we're doing good. We're excited. We got a good group right now. It's been overall what we would say is a successful year. Obviously, every year has its challenges and ups and downs of everything. But we had some pretty big highs, honestly. Host and Grow being one of them, being a big high for the team and all that. So overall, I mean, we can't complain. We're really fortunate, got a really good team around us right now. And as a summary, things are pretty good. Yeah.
So we'll get into Grow here in a minute. Josiah, how is business? What are you seeing down there outside of San Antonio? How's the economy? Give us a little bit of an update on what you're seeing in terms of trends.
I think everybody's having to work a lot harder. Everybody got pretty complacent going through the COVID pandemic years. I know we kind of reaped the benefits of, very enthusiastic purchasers, being our clients in a lot of ways. I have my pulse closely on the residential side, and our residential clients have gotten very savvy quickly, not in a negative sense, but they're just asking more questions. The lead time to close projects is taking longer, and we're having to do our job and not just roll out a notepad and take the order. So
right.
I think it's a good spot. I think it's going to weed out a lot of folks that haven't figured out their numbers, that were getting away with charging whatever the heck they wanted, and the market is going to refine the best, and we're very excited to be positioned where we are. The commercial side has continued to pull work in as we work to grow our maintenance division, and quite honestly, we're very excited about what the team has been able to put together and put on the board this year across the board, across all facets of the
business.
So
you're not going to spend a bunch of time commiserating with other negative people about how bad the economy could get, Washington, D.C., and all the other things that we could probably spend our time worrying about?
The circus came to San Antonio, and I've driven by it, and that's the extent of what I'm going to do.
Many of you are listening to this. If you're watching
rolling.
us on YouTube, you'd see the smile and my tongue implanted in my cheek as sarcasm all over that. It's amazing, Jonathan and Josiah. I run into, not everyone, but I run into people that they just go right into the negativity. And if I know them well enough, I say, why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you take that energy you're using to complain and why don't you put it forth towards something positive?
Yeah.
If I don't know them well, I don't want to engage in that and sound like a know-it-all. But I really do believe in life that you will find exactly what you're looking for. And I've known both of you, I don't know, a long time. Josiah, I think I met you first maybe 10 years ago.
Probably, yeah.
And it's amazing to watch what the two of you have done. So business is good. You're continuing to hone in on the residential and the commercial side. What other trends are you seeing, or what other things are you focused on with your business for 2024?
Yeah, I mean, I think Josiah kind of hit on a fair amount of it there, is making sure we're actually focused on it. I like the analogy of previously when the economy was great, especially in our industry, even through the whole COVID debacle, we were taking orders. We weren't selling. We were pretty much all taking orders. So I think shifting that focus, and we really tried to get out in front of that this year. Mm-hmm. In all honesty, going through Host and Grow, we started seeing the signs a month before Host and Grow that our pipeline was not as strong. We weren't getting as many leads as previous year to date. So we were seeing it start to happen then, and we really started trying to change our focus and keeping everybody centered on the idea of, no, we're going to sell, we're going to provide customer service, which is something that just went out the window. When you take orders, you don't focus on customer service. So making sure that while we were focused on that, but that we're putting an emphasis on customer service, whether that be in the residential world or in the commercial world that we're trying to work into with HOA maintenance. So making sure that we're aligned on that, I think, is one of the biggest things that we're doing. And then really getting into granular details right now. We had our leadership retreat this last week with our leadership team, which we're very, very excited about. Got a really solid group there. But we got into some details. I mean, where can we start cutting expenses now? Where can we get out in front of this and keep our focus so that if we do have to tighten up a little bit more this next year on our pricing and things like that, let's make it to where that's not something that's up for discussion when that time comes. That's just the next step. So really making sure that we have things lined out for this next year. We know where we're going with pricing. We know what we're going to do for the type of clientele that we're going to target and go after. And quite honestly, it has changed some of our focus a little bit, and realizing, hey, we do have to keep that residential world a little bit closer right now and not go quite as wholesale into the HOA commercial maintenance world. While we like the reoccurring revenue, we're already starting to play to what our strengths are and what we think the economy is going to do in our area. So really just making sure that we know the steps, and it's not going to be up for discussion when that time comes. We just know what we're going to have to do.
I think kind of looking back on where we were 6 years ago, 8 years ago, as a $500,000, $1 million a year company, and folks ask, like, oh, well, how was it going through 2008? Whatever the deal was. Well, also we grew through them, but I mean, we grew at a much smaller level. And so I hear everything Jonathan's saying, and sometimes it seems like maybe as a smaller contractor, revenue-wise, you think, well, that really doesn't apply to me. Just plotting a course for pricing. What is our pricing actually do? If anything, I can say is, like, get into your numbers now, understand what that overhead, understand what equipment is going to be coming up, needing to be replaced, needing to be repaired, and really start to make a strong game plan. One of the things that we've been looking at aggressively is the condition of our fleet. In a lot of ways, that has a massive impact on our cash flow, cash on hand, both in balancing running, older equipment versus newer equipment, and we're making some tough calls that we feel will be best for the team and our company in the long run.
Yeah, I love your transparency. I love the sharing. This is what smart business owners do. Jonathan and Josiah, in the peer groups, we often talk about scenario planning. What's the best case scenario? We don't spend a whole lot of time in that realm because we all know we can handle that. What's the worst case scenario? That's where you got to spend a lot of time and make sure you're prepared for that. And then what is most likely to happen? I don't hear, just so the folks listening here today on the Grow Show, powered by Steel, that we're not saying Chicken Little, the sky's falling. We're just saying, look, and it's a narrative we've had here. We were order takers for probably 3 years. Now we're order makers. The work is still out there. My wife and I have been trying to get 3 different things done in our house now for over a year. You can't find anybody to call you back. You can't find people to do the work. They show up to do the work and they act like you're doing you a favor. Not all of them, but a few of them. It's just like, look, I don't have to put up with this. I'm not going to pay you. Forget it. I just won't get it done. And that's kind of what I heard you guys saying was the customer service. We're going to make sure we're point on with that. We're going to make sure we're point on with our pricing. We're going to be ready for this. I mean, that's folks that are listening. This is just smart business thoughts and feelings. This is what we do to keep our business ahead of the curve and be smart about it. There is work everywhere, folks. You're just going to have to work a little bit harder, and you actually might have to sell, which that's kind of what we had to do prior to 2020 as well. And then there's always this ebb and flow. Okay, so let's talk about Grow. When we came there, and when I close my eyes and I think about the lesson that I learned from Grow, it was your transparency and the brotherhood, the sisterhood, your team. How's the team doing? What was your biggest takeaway from Grow? Tell us a little bit about how that changed your company. You've got a ton of fans. There were 800 people rooting through your underwear drawers. So It's one of those deals where they're gonna see it grow in Des Moines, Iowa, and you're gonna be like, yeah, I don't know who you are, but hello. That's kind of what happens when you're on center stage there. Give us a little update on what Grow did and what maybe some things we could take away from that experience.
Yeah, I mean, it overall, Marty, it was a lot of fun. To be honest, I think the preparation for Grow probably did more than actually hosting Grow, if I'm honest about it, and kind of how that brought the team together. It forced us to clean up some things that kind of just sit. I think naturally as a whole, we are a clean company. We are pretty organized, but
For
it
sure you
forces you to
are.
get into the details and kind of do that in-depth spring cleaning, if you will. So it forced us into a lot of good areas like that to get ready for Grow and to host it. But coming out of it and even during the event, the biggest takeaway, hands down, was just the excitement that was for the team that's here, to see that while we are just a landscape company, that's really it. That's all we are, is a landscape company that does something that thousands and thousands of people can do, and a lot of people do on their own. But we're doing something different that was worth coming to see. So I think that was really exciting for the folks that work here, to realize we're doing it unique. We're not doing it just the cookie cutter way that most people think you do landscape. We treat our people differently here. We value people differently in how we do things. So that taught us a lot. I think it really put a lot of confidence in a lot of people. What it did do, I think, kind of in turn, is it helped us to refocus and maybe look at some ways that we thought we were doing things correctly, and realize, okay, maybe that's not the best way to do it. Let's view this. I'll say something that was hilarious and a good plug for this show, for the host of this show, was Still. Is one of the applicable things that came out is people are like, y'all are not running Still. Then they heard from our team some equipment complaints about small hand tools, right? So I'm proud to say we did a wholesale swap of our hand tool fleet after Grow. That's one of the things that came up. So
Roger Phelps is smiling at that one.
Yeah, there you go. So Roger, I guess going to dinner the night before Grow was worth it if you're listening.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, we love it.
There's been some fun little things like that, that were things that came out of Grow. It's like, we're just going to do this. But more so than anything, it was how it rallied the team, brought them together. Everybody had fun hosting. I think everybody was excited the fact that we are doing something unique. And it just showed, something's a little bit different, and how we do things is different, and that's okay.
Well, having 20 busloads of people pull up at your place was probably pretty exciting. Josiah, anything you want to add?
The opportunity to do it was fantastic. Thanks again, Marty, for putting
Of course,
throwing your weight behind us a long time ago, and we really have nothing but great things to say about the Grow Group and our peer group experience. It's honestly helped forge a lot of who we are today, and thank you for putting a lot of people in the same room.
Yeah. So you're going to be at Grow in Des Moines. What would you tell someone that's watching this? Because we have a lot of people that listen to the Grow Show. They've never been to Grow. When we market it, Josiah and Jonathan, we tell them it's a life-changing experience. I have said this publicly. I will say it again. When I first started saying that, I felt bad saying it. But again, that's not Marty saying it. That's what the people that go say. I know it's changed your life. It's not what Marty and Vince and Emily do. It's what the whole community that gets together there and Grow does with each other. Can you share what your thoughts are on why someone should come to Grow?
I mean, good grief. There's quite a few reasons. Firstly, I would call out is we're very excited about the location of Grow this year. One of the reasons of that is one of our longtime production managers, who a lot of folks got to meet, John. He's from there. So John's very excited. Wow. He gets to go on a work trip. I don't think there's many people from Iowa that get to go on a work trip to Iowa. So that's kind of cool. So we're fired up about that. But on the granular level, there's so much that comes with the networking of it. In all honesty, there's a big project that we're kind of working through and onto in a public scale within our market that came from the cocktail hour at Grow in Nashville a couple years ago, of me chatting with a guy there, getting to know him, connected us in as an architect with some other people, and now we're on some big projects because of that. So
it's amazing.
that was in Nashville. he was from another state, wasn't even from Tennessee. So just seeing how the networking comes together, I think is one easy way of justifying it. And then aside from that, like our industry is not as receptive of others in our industry as it should be. We need to be excited and helping each other out. Competition is the best thing that can happen. And I think going to a scenario like this where we can see other people, see how they're doing things, see how they're handling it differently, where there's going to be plenty that we can pull from them, even though they do snow and we don't.
Right.
Their efficiencies and how they tackle it, we can implement that into our FERT programs, into our maintenance programs, whatever it may be. So I don't think there's any limitations on it, but it does depend a lot on how you come into it. And realizing, hey, I'm going to go to learn. I'm going to go to network. I'm going to sit through all those sessions. I'm going to stay for the entire conference. I'm not going to catch that flight out early that's $50 cheaper. I'm going to stay for the whole thing. Heck, I may stay another night afterwards and get to know some other folks later. So we're all about it. Our team is all about it. But I don't even think we could go to the leadership team and say, we're going to stop spending money on going to conferences like Grow. They'd be like, y'all are crazy. You're out. We're doing it.
Right.
We're going to these conferences because you can't put a dollar value on them. They're so important to go and put something into it and you get something out of it.
One of the things that I would encourage people to do, especially going into it, is don't go looking for equipment. It's going to be there. You're going to see it. Go looking to stretch your mind, stretch your field of reference, if you will.
Right.
You're getting so much great information. Don't give people crazy numbers because we all know that they're inflated because you forgot them and it's a mess. Be open about your struggles, get some actual solutions, and ask dumb questions, for goodness sakes.
And don't go to dinner alone, right?
100%. 100%.
Yeah. But it's just fun. And the most touching part of the entire event for me, Jonathan and Josiah, I don't think I've told you this before. When Grow opens up and I'm up on stage and I look out there and I see all those people that have come to work on their business and try to get better together, that's the first most emotional thing for me. Mm-hmm. Second, after that, one of my favorite things to do, and I keep threatening to Emily and Vince, and I'm going to put on a disguise so nobody knows who I am. I like to just go out in the hallway and be quiet and listen to the conversations. It is amazing. It's not people talking about their dog or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the San Antonio Spurs. It's people talking about their businesses, sharing, trying to get better together, talking about their struggles, letting their hair down, as you said, showing their vulnerability. It's truly an amazing event. If you haven't come to Grow, I hope you'll join us. Jonathan and Josiah are extremely successful, humble guys with a whole lot of grit and determination and drive. They have a growth mindset like we spoke about in one of the recent issues of the Grow Show. And I guarantee you, if you come up and say, hey, you're Jonathan and Josiah, I saw you on the Grow Show, could I talk to you? These two nice men are going to say, of course you can talk to us. We can learn from you. So any final words before we wrap up?
I don't think so, Marty. We're excited. We'll see you there in, I guess, a couple months here almost. Crazy. Time flies. So we're excited. We're looking forward to it. Again, thank you for the opportunity. Absolutely. We're really excited. And let's have those conversations. We're all there to learn from each other.
Well, you guys are great clients, but I look at you more as friends. And it's been so neat to see you grow with your business. I will never, ever take credit for your success. I know that by getting together in our peer groups and going, we've probably shown you some things you can do, but I've been in the same boat. Like I'm seeing it too. I'm experiencing it with you. You two have done the work and you've put your money out there to make it work. You've been good to your team. You've rewarded them. I know you've made personal financial sacrifices because you have a long game perspective of where you're going. And I just admire you. I was so excited to show you off last year. You're very relatable people and you deserve all the success that you're having.
Thank you, Marty. Appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you in a couple months in Des Moines, Iowa.
Take care. Good. We'll see you.
See you.
Jonathan and Josiah Peterson today on The Grow Show. Folks, we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Grow Show. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and head to growgroupinc.com for more information and resources to grow your landscaping business. A special thanks to the folks at Stihl, whose support makes this podcast possible and whose reliable handheld power equipment makes our jobs easier daily. We'll talk to you next week.